Hi, I'm Kamakshay Musunuru, open source software evangelist, full stack web developer. I'm also an academic of data science and analytics. In this video, I'm going to show you how to work with functions inside JavaScript. Talking about functions using JavaScript is not that easy because this is an endless topic. There are many things which we can, because JavaScript is primarily a functional programming language. So which means it has got almost all kinds of it accommodates almost all strategies, methodologies, and the ways to work with functions. There are quite a few ways we can use functions so dynamically for various purposes of web development. Um, so I'm just resolved to talk about very few things, like how to declare and define a function, how to handle the parameters, how to call, apply, closures, etc., etc., etc. I may not be able to talk entire all those things within a single video cast. So I have a plan to divide this particular part of this video series into this particular part, which means the functions. Functions alone I'm going to divide into different parts. So in this video cast, I'm going to talk about the very basics or fundamentals of writing the functions. Okay, in JavaScript, when you are in the console, you got a keyword called function. This is going to be, so to write a function, okay, we need to declare. Actually, there is a particular thing called construct. A constructor. It's not a constructor. I'm extremism. Constructor. A constructor is something which deals with the parameters and the logic inside a function. So we can use the keyword function, and then I can write my function. Okay, and then this is just going to be an empty function. I'm going to print some information here. This is just a function, empty function. Okay, and then I can close the block statement. So I can just write my functions, my function, and that should be there in the workspace. This is just an empty function, something like that. Now, having defined this, we can do multiple things with this constructor, or maybe after. This is just called declaration. So we declare a function now. I can assign this function to an alias. I can call my funct is equal to my function. Okay. Now when I press now my funct is actually another name for the my function constructor. It's not a constructor actually. Constructor is altogether a different. It has a different meaning. I'm using that word in a very loose fashion, but it has significant. So this function declaration can be assigned to a name, and that name can be used for my funct. Okay, this is just an empty function, something like that. Now the same function can be used as a value. Let say x equal to my funct. So here actually the left side I have the variable and right side I have the value. I'm just going to save this. I'm extremely sorry actually. This cannot be let's say it is undefined. So I cannot do this because let me define another function. Okay, I call it as add x comma y. I want to use two parameters. I can also call them as arguments. Now return x plus 1. Okay, now what happens? I created a function add, so I can use this as now this function returns a value. Okay, so such functions can be used as to pass the value. This returned value can be passed into a variable, and this function can also be used as an expression. So first let me show you how to use this function to pass the value. So let x is equal to add 1 comma 2. So now the variable x which I created in this statement is going to hold the value of the result of the statement add, the function add 1 comma 2. So this function is going to add these two numbers 1 comma 2, and then that result is saved in this variable. It is also possible for us to use the function as an expression add 1 comma 2 plus 3. So that is just y now has 6. So it is possible. And in the same fashion, we can just go ahead and there is a particular thing called hoisting. So this hoisting, function hoisting, most of the time we use this inside the scripts, not in the console. Console it is a bit difficult because it is an interpreter. So we got the JavaScript. In that way, JavaScript is a very cool language for getting both console as well as the it is an interpreter. It is not a compiler kind of thing. So, but it is a kind of hazy concept. We call interpreters, and there we have the compilers, and we call the compilers. Let me not talk about it. So JavaScript is possible for us to use the interpreter as well as the as well as compile or execute the script as in compiling fashion. So that's the difference. So here hoisting is actually we can call the function well before definition. So that is what it is. So I cannot show you by because maybe in future I can, when I start writing the scripts, I can show you how to perform the function hoisting. But here I'm going to make use of this blocking. Blocks are really very useful method to contain multiple number of statements within a block or something like that. So to create the block, we have to use the curly braces in. So here I can make a function called multiply. Okay, just for fun. I already had addition, so I cannot. And then this function I can call multiply x comma y, and then I can declare this. What is this multiply? Okay, x comma y, and then return x multiplied y, and then close the function. So you need to. Oh, I don't know what is that. So I'm closing it. Now what happens is actually it multiplies. I think we already have the x here, which is 3. And y is 6, so that is why it multiplied the 6 3s are 18, something like that. Okay, that's fine, good. So here actually what is happening, this is what is called hoisting, a beautiful strategy which we need in future for various ways we can use this technique. So we are calling the function well before it being declared. Okay, that is actually the one thing. And then I forgot to talk something here. When you so here I told you that we can create an alias for a function, which is not an alias actually. We can assign different names to already declared function, named functions. Okay, so these in the same fashion, you see here I have the addition next to this. I open the browser. So I have add here. This is a function. And I can assign this add to another name called sum, so without any parentheses. Now sum is also a valid function, so I can use add. I can use sum in the same exactly in the same fashion as I can use add. So that is possible. And then there is one particular topic called anonymous functions. So which means unnamed functions. A function which can be quickly called. For that we have to use the parenthesis, and inside this parenthesis is just going to serve like a block. Okay, function I can just I think earlier I defined a function, so that function is I still should be having that. It is just an empty function. Okay, this function. So this type of functions which has no names, we can also enclose them inside the parentheses, and when I use another set of parentheses just like that, it is just going to act like a quick function. Okay, it won't wait for. So usually when we define a function, we need to use that function again calling it. So here what is happening is declaration of the function and the call of the function call, both of them are happening enveloped in the same activity. So both of these activities can be performed simultaneously. Such functions are called quick functions or anonymous functions. Okay, and the last one, which of course, last but one, I would like to talk about the arrow functions. This is actually a robust, very interesting, type of writing the functions. We don't need to use whenever we declare a function, we are using a keyword called function. We don't need to do that. Okay, so we can just simply replace that. Say for example, I want to make a function called addition is equal to, that is the name of the function. Now I can just simply declare the events here. The parameters or arguments here, maybe argument A, argument B, something like that. And now I can use an arrow, okay, just like this. And now what's going to happen is I can just simply take care of the logic immediately after the arrow. So now I'm just creating a function called addition, and now when I use this, this is just going to, I'm sorry, this is not addition, this is a multiplication, I'm sorry, this is an addition. So I'm just, this is a very quickest way to create a function called arrow functions, where we can avoid this keyword function. Now addition, and then 1 comma 2, now it is 3, something like that. The last but not least, which I would like to talk about these functions, is these functions has got arguments and methods. So don't think that this is just a mere function. A function acts like a class in Java. So usually when we define a class has we refer this to encapsulation. So when we have the data and methods enveloped in the same container, it is called a class. So for each function here, it mimics like a class, a mini class, something like that. So it's my way of. So what happens is, suppose if I define a function, okay, let me know args, okay, a comma b, okay, x comma y, something like that. Now arguments. So this function has got a keyword. We can use a keyword called, it is an inbuilt statement or a command, or args, arguments, length, okay, and then I can just, and now let me know arguments, maybe 1 comma 2. Now this is just a good, I think I have to print it, right? I'm extremely sorry. Just console log arguments length, okay, and now if I make the arguments, it is 2, that is the arguments length, and at the same time it is also possible for us to use the methods. There are a few methods for the arguments. Like I defined an argument, I defined a function called addition or add, something like that. Now it has a result, right, which is 3. I can convert that into a string. You see, these are all actually the methods which we can implement on this function, okay, to string. And then this is no more a number. The result of this execution is not, this function is, the result of this function is not going to be the number, but it is going to be the string, something like that. So this is all actually in a nutshell, all about functions within a nutshell. But there are many things which I didn't discuss in this video cast. Maybe I can create 2 more video casts. I may be able to explain the rest of the concepts into a more video cast coming ahead. So thanks for watching this video and stay tuned for the new content. Please subscribe to my video channel. Kindly press like button. Thanks a lot.